Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for the main card of Legacy Fighting Championship 10, which is going to happen on February 24th on HDNet. With today, though, I do want to talk about the elephant in the room a little bit. The Nick Diaz getting busted for marijuana. It just kind of sucks, really. I'm a big fan of the guy. I'd like to see him fight. If he does fight, I don't believe he retired. And if he does fight, he's getting fined like 2013 now. Unless he gets like a, like a six month suspension instead of 1 year for whatever reason. It's happened before. He's been cut for marijuana after the Gomi fight. I don't think he'll be cut from the UFC, despite the fact that there's that whole GSP, pre-fight press conference stuff, and then and now this, So I think the guy's too big of a draw at this point, polarizing personality and like top 10 welterweight to really justify him getting cut from the UFC. I think there's just too much money with Diaz, to be perfectly honest. There's not much I can really say about it, though. I just kind of want to give a quick blurb about it. And let's just get on to the Legacy Fighting Championship fights. Okay, we got Gerald Harris versus DJ Linderman in the main event. Linderman, this guy's fought in Bellator. He's done really well. He lost to Richard Hale in a split decision. I think it was in the semifinals, because Richard Hale ended up losing to Mpumbu. He's only 28. I don't actually know what weight class is going to be in, because Harris usually fights at 185. Linderman's fights at 205. He does have some notable wins, though, over like Devin Cole, Mike 300As, Mario Rinaldi, and Rafael Davis. He does have some pretty good boxing. I distinctly remember the Hale fight, that it got sloppier as the fight went on. His cardio was also questionable in that fight as well. With Harris, this guy's fighting in the UFC. He's coming off a 2-fight winning streak. He's recently fighting in Dream. He does have this really weird stance where he almost like shows his it's just very odd because his back is almost towards his opponent. So wrestling's very strong, and he does have power in his hands. 9 of his wins are by KO or TKO. One of them was a slam over David Branch. He does have 6 submission victories to his credit as well. I gotta go with Gerald Harris to win this one. I think he's a really solid fighter. Despite losing to James Head, which he really shouldn't have lost to James Head. I don't know if he just didn't try or what. He's coming after a 2-fight winning streak right now. But, he's a good fighter. I think he's a UFC caliber fighter. So, yeah, I'll go with Gerald Harris to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Mike the Greek Bronzales versus Eric Big Head Davila. Eric Davila has some surprising wins. He beat Pete Spratt. He beat Brock Larson. I think he KO'd him. He's coming off a loss to UFC veteran and former champ Dave Manet. Like I said, strong chin, just a really durable guy, really experienced. I think he's fought like Matt Hughes even before Hughes was in the UFC. Interesting stat with him: 13 of his wins are by submission, but 7 of his losses are by submission. His record's not great. It's 20-11. The Greek, he's coming off that 5-round fight against Jorge Patino, where he lost by unanimous decision. He's 33, so both these guys are getting up there in age. Bronzales does have some knockout power, though, as 9 of his wins are by KO or TKO. It's kind of tough for me to call, because Davila's one of those guys that always surprise me. I pick against him a couple times, and this time I will too. I'm going to want the Greek to win this one. I'm going Gonzalez to win this. Okay, next fight after that, we have Justin Reiswerg versus Pat Awesomely Awesome Audinwood. Thing with Reiswerg, actually, his only loss is his pro debut. Since then, he's had a 4-fight win streak, and 3 of his last fights were under the Legacy Fighting Championship banner. Definitely doesn't have as much experience as Audinwood, as Reiswerg has a 4-1 record, whereas Audinwood has a 10-2-1 record. Interesting thing about Audinwood, he did fight in the UFC. His only losses are to Thiago Tavares and John McDessie in the UFC. Otherwise, outside the UFC, he's never lost. He's only 25. He has no wins by strikes to his credit. 5 of his wins are by sub, and 5 of his wins are by decision. I'll go with Audinwood to win this one. Okay. Next fight after that, we have Carson Beebe versus Tim Snyder. One thing with Snyder, he's come off a 2-fight losing streak, but he's only won 3 of his last 10 MMA bouts. His stats aren't. His record's like a 12-9-1 record. 4 of his losses by KO or TKO, and 4 of them were losses by submission. With Carson Beebe, he's coming off a 3-fight win streak. Of course, he didn't make it in the Ultimate Fighter, losing the preliminary round. He's only 23, still pretty young. I'll go with Carson to win this one. Yeah, I generally have a rule of not going with the guy coming off like losses. So I'll go with Carson Beebe to win this one. Okay, going with another brother here, as Chidi and Njokuani is going to fight, brother as in like brother of another fighter. It's Chidi and Njokuani is going to fight Jonathan Harris. Njokuani, really interesting guy. He's not too much. In some ways, he's like his brother. In a lot of ways, I guess a lot of ways he's like his brother. Although only one of his fights went to the 3rd round, win or lose. A lot of his wins end in the first, or wins or losses come in the first round. That's the thing. He has most of his wins by strikes. Most of his losses are actually by strikes as well. 2 out of 3 losses, 2 of them are by KO or TKO. With Harris, I was just reading something on this guy. I think he used to be a bodybuilder. He was homeless for a while. It's a really interesting story with this guy. He's only 27. He's coming off a 2-fight winning streak. I'll go with Jonathan Harris on this one. Okay, and finally we have Rashon Lewis versus Alex Morono. With Morono's only losses to Jeff Rexroad, who is coming off the win over, Larry Taekwondo Crow. Otherwise, he has a 3-1 record. He's coming off a win over Everett Gutierrez. Don't know too much about him, to be perfectly honest with you. I remember seeing the last Rashon Lewis fight. He's coming off that win over Ricardo Talavera. And I remember, I think it was a split decision win. And it's been a while, but I think I want to say it was a controversial win. I'm not too sure though. Nonetheless, I'll go with Rashon Lewis to win this one. I've seen one of the thing is I've seen one of his fights, whereas I've never seen Alex's fights, so it's kind of a pick'em here for me. With the smaller shows, a lot of the fights are real pick'em fights. I've seen very little of most of these guys. I've seen Morono is the only guy I've never actually seen fight. Everyone else, I have seen them fight, but I still know very little of a few of these guys. Okay, But that's pretty much it for my Legacy Fighting Championship 10 predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.